So we continue our ranking series where we rank players across different positions in Premier League history. We've done couple positions and you can watch those videos right there on our channel. Today is time for the right back position. The right back position is one that has seen a lot of change over years. The definition of what a top right back is in the past 20 years has been changed to what it is in the past 10 years and even the past 5 years. But regardless, myself, Victor, and Max will do the difficult yet easy job of ranking our top three in Premier League history. And without wasting much time, starting from number three, Max, who is the right back you're going for?
Wait, I'm not gonna like that. I'll go with the Trent on the number three for me. I mean, definitely he's the best of all time in terms of attacking skills from defenders. He holds the record for assists, and this is quite good for this type of player, but I still feel like he wasn't that great in terms of one versus one defending. And also, he didn't play for this long as how much played my number one and number two, and he won only two Prems, so I'd say even if he stayed at Liverpool for like 5 more years and improved, I feel like he could be number two or even number one. But for now, I feel like he's only number three for me.
Victor, your opinion, your number three.
I'm gonna start with a bit of a disclaimer. As usual with these things, there are names left out that people are going to judge me and us on, and I accept that. I know that Lee Dixon was extraordinary, that Joao Cancelo was great as well, and I did enjoy watching Bakary Sagna play. But we're only picking three, and that's the bottom line. So people will get left out, and people will maybe be outraged. However, this is one of these weird points that does not happen often, where I actually agree with Max. I've got Trent in number three as well. I'll be honest, I was considering Seamus Coleman for number three.
Oh, me too, actually.
But but apart from longevity, he doesn't really have that much going for him. Still, Trent is my number three here, and if we look at his achievements, well, with Liverpool, I think it's hard to argue with that. Most assists for a defender, all possible trophies won. Okay, apart from the Europa League, his passing range was just taking the piss. Everything just put everything together, and I think he's one of the best right backs anywhere, not just in the Prem.
Yeah, that's a very, very pleasant surprise because I also had Trent in my number three as well. So I think this is the first that we all have the same name for a particular position, like especially in
Yeah.
number three, not number one, number three. So yeah, I've got Trent as well. And there were reasons I could have, tried to place Trent at number two and one. But looking at the other players I had on my list, the only thing actually, like Max said, the only thing Trent really had over them was the attacking prowess and the fact that he has the most assists, from right back in Premier League history. It means he deserves to be on this list in any form at all. So yeah, Trent is also my number three. No argument about that. Moving forward to number two, Max, your pick.
I was thinking between number one and number two, and I decided to put Gary Neville on second place. He played pretty long time for United. He was very consistent all time, but he wasn't that good in terms of attack as we discussed. He was a straight defender, I'd say, and he was stable in that term. He won a lot of trophies, but if you go for nowadays football, you cannot be only a defender if you play right wing. So I'd keep him in number two.
Victor, your number two.
We're going to London for this one, and I'm picking Branislav Ivanovic. I think his speed, his strength, his passing, his tackling, positioning, stamina, he had it all. Just had it all. He was the perfect package for the position in that sense, especially from like the physical qualities of the game. I was actually considering picking him as my number one because of his consistency and for making it through the shit show that Chelsea was back then for 10 straight years. Um, I think he falls a little bit short. He was a proper leader of men, and he was a player who would run through a brick wall for his team. And there's a little more you could ask for in that sense, but he just falls a bit short of my number one.
Yeah, fair enough. And for me, my number two is Kyle Walker. That's my number two. Kyle Walker. And it may sound funny when you think about it in the broad picture, but the way I like to rank players is by I rank people by eras, basically. I rank people by eras because if you do it holistically, there will be names where you will sound funny to you. But eras, speaking about the last 10 years or even maybe the last 15 years and what the definition of a right back has become, attacking prowess, defensive prowess, your speed, 1v1 tackling. I think Kai Walker has everything in balance. And he also, won trophies not for Spurs, but for City. He won trophies for City, and he has also, him and Trent more or less redefined that role from a modern sense. So Kai Walker is my number two. So moving on to number one, Max, your pick.
You just talked about my number one. Actually, I'm going with Karaoke number one. I mean, yeah, you said pretty right. He was so good in terms of defense, one versus one. Also, he was quite consistent all time, and also he was pretty good in attack. So I feel like he's a pretty complete defender, and his peak was pretty long, and he won a lot of trophies with Man City. So I'll go with him number one.
Yeah, Victor, your number one.
Okay, this might raise a few eyebrows because I'm leaving Kyle Walker completely out of my top three. And I honestly can barely believe I'm saying this, but my number one pick is Gary Neville. Even with Carragher taking the piss, saying that no one grows up wanting to be a Gary Neville, the fact of the matter is this man has 8 Premier League medals. 8. Um, he was not a flashy footballer. He was not a flashy character for that matter either. And I personally always appreciate that. But you could almost always count on him to get things done. His work rate was always top notch. Was just a great tackler and a proper one size fits all, fantastic old school right back. Um, Football was in a different era then, and get I get Max's argument for having him in number two instead of number one, but I just feel like there was none better than Neville. It sounds surreal to me saying that, but that's the reality of it. However, the less we say about his managerial career, the better.
Yeah, and surprisingly or not, I'm also going with Gary Neville as my number one. First of all, 20 years playing for a club. 20 years is just something. If you're talking of longevity, no right back comes close to him. 20 years playing for United, 8 Premier League titles, and maybe people look down on the fact that he also had 35 assists because in that time, it was not really a thing for right backs, to contribute much to the attack. So they did not really rate him based on that. But he also had a pretty fair share of attacking numbers as well. So, and based on that era, like I said, I rank players based on eras. Based on that era, I think it was pretty much the best, among the lot. And but that longevity just stands him out. The fact that people from 3 different generations watched him just says a lot. And he played all the way to 2011. Yeah, Gary Neville is just it's the perfect example of what the best right back should be for me. So yeah, it just makes my number one
It's actually
slightly
fun
makes
that
my
I'm
number
the
one
only
pick.
one who's not having Man United defender on number one and having Man City on
And
first.
you're the United fan.
You're the
It's like
United fan. Yeah, it's
honestly,
mental.
but
I think well,
seriously, like how you said, Kola, the 20 years. Just imagine not playing for 400 games, not knowing any other manager apart from Alex Ferguson. It's
yeah,
mental.
yeah, exactly, it's mental. So if Neville did not if Neville did not play for more than 10 years, then probably most of us would not have watched him consistently. to
Yeah.
start with. So his longevity just stands him out, from the rest.
Imagine
So
current Chelsea
then,
players who has 4 different coaches one season.
uh, that's ridiculous. Anyways, there you have it. Those are our picks for our top three right backs in Premier League history: Kyle Walker, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Gary Neville. I think the odd one out here is Branislav Ivanovic. We'll leave our viewers to tell us what they think about that. Do you think Ivanovic deserves to be top two right backs of all time in the Premier League? Let us know what you think. And I think things are definitely going to get interesting when we move to the midfield and the attacking options, because that is where most of the competition, would drag on and on and on. But anyways, we'll be here to do all of that, because starting from our next ranking episode, we'll be moving further up and things will get pretty much interesting.